If your home has hard water, how does that irritate you?